I, 32M, have spent the last 7 years building a life I thought was solid with my wife, 30F. I'm a senior analyst for a logistics firm, so my brain is basically wired to track movements and spot discrepancies. My wife works in high-end real estate, and lately, her ego has been hitting levels I didn't think were possible. She started treating our life like some starter kit she had outgrown. 2 days ago, she went completely MIA. I messaged her at 10 a.m. about dinner, nothing. I called her at 1 p.m. to tell her the plumber finished, straight to voicemail. By 6 p.m., I was sitting at the table with 2 plates of cold lasagna. I tried to check her GPS, but she disabled it. She didn't walk through the door until 11 p.m. She looked like she'd just stepped out of a salon, carrying a bag from a boutique she can't usually afford. No apology, no explanation. She just leaned against the kitchen island, looked me in the eye, and smirked. "You know what happened?" she said, her voice totally airy. "I had a one-night stand with my boss. And honestly, I'd do it again. He's everything you aren't. Successful, decisive, and he knows how to treat a woman who actually matters." I didn't blow up. I didn't throw the lasagna. I just took a bite, chewed slowly, and nodded. I said, "Okay." She actually scoffed at me. She called me pathetic and told me to have her coffee ready in bed by 6 a.m. because her actual partner wanted her in early for a private briefing. What she didn't realize is that I'd been expecting this. You don't work in logistics without noticing when the cargo starts deviating from the route. I'd already been talking to an attorney. That nod wasn't me giving up, it was me triggering the plan. The next morning at 6 a.m., she woke up expecting a latte. Instead, I dropped a heavy manila envelope on her chest. She ripped it open, screaming that she'd take half of everything, the 401k, the house, and alimony. I just pointed at the second document. It was a copy of the morality clause and conflict of interest disclosure from her employment contract. I'd found it in her home office. It specifically stated that romantic involvement with a superior was grounds for immediate termination without severance. I also showed her a screenshot of her boss's corporate credit card statement from the night before, the one he used to buy her that bag. My brother-in-law works in their accounting department and was very happy to flag that client entertainment expense for me. Then I played the clip. She didn't know the Nest camera in the kitchen was recording when she bragged about the affair. She confessed, unprompted, to something that violated our post-nuptial agreement. We'd signed that 3 years ago when I bankrolled her real estate license. She wanted it back then because she thought she'd be the one making millions and didn't want me touching her money. She tried to claim I was abusive and that she'd stay in the house, but I reminded her that we rent. The lease was in my name, I'd already given notice, and the utilities were being cut off at noon. Then her mom showed up. Her mother has always been the one whispering in her ear that she settled for me. She started screaming about how she'd sue me into the ground because her brother is on some country club board. I just handed her the addendum about the $50,000 loan I gave her 3 years ago to save her failing boutique. It was a formal promissory note stating the balance was due in full if her daughter and I ever legally separated. Her face went white. I told her the lawsuit for the unpaid balance had been filed that morning. While they were standing there in shock, my wife's phone buzzed. A news alert popped up. Her boss had been terminated for embezzlement and ethics violations. I'd tipped off a reporter the night before with the evidence of the misappropriated funds. His wife, who happens to be the primary shareholder of the firm, wasn't exactly in a forgiving mood. A few weeks later, we ended up in court. My wife showed up in a $2,000 suit, acting like she was the victim. Her lawyer tried to claim the postnup was signed under duress. My lawyer countered with a deposition from the independent counsel who represented her at the time, plus an email my wife sent to her mom saying she was only signing the stupid paper to get my money for her license and would find a loophole later. Then they tried the ultimate dirty trick. Her lawyer claimed she was pregnant and that the court needed to freeze my accounts for prenatal care. My wife started crying on cue. I just leaned into the mic and reminded the judge that I had a vasectomy 3 years ago. It was right there in the medical records. I haven't had it reversed. The judge looked at my wife like she was something he'd stepped in on the sidewalk. He told her lawyer to advise her on the penalties for perjury and upheld the postnup. The fallout was total. The boss tried to blame my wife for the embezzlement, but I had the metadata from her home computer showing they were both in on it, funneling marketing money into a shell company. The final settlement was a bloodbath. Because of the postnup and the wasteful dissipation of assets, the money she spent on the affair, I walked away with 90% of our savings and my retirement fully intact. No alimony. The boss got 5 years for embezzlement. My wife got 3 years of probation and 1,000 hours of community service. Her real estate career is gone. She's blacklisted everywhere. Last I heard, she's working a front desk at a dental office and her mom's boutique is officially bankrupt. I moved to the coast. I realized that the silence I had during that last dinner wasn't me being pathetic. It was the sound of me winning. Justice isn't always a big explosion. Sometimes it's just a lock clicking into place while you walk away with everything you worked for. I'd tell you guys more, but unlike my ex-wife, I actually have a job to get to. If you want to hear more stories about people finding out after they F around, hit that subscribe button.